The next step is to make a trough for the rosette, for the inlay. So I've drilled a hole that's usually about 153 millimeters from the 12th fret, or the top of the soundboard, and I've indicated where the rosette's going to be. Now I have a circle cutter which I've set to the right diameter. So let's see, put in here, and then cut the inner circle. You can do this with a Dremel or with a different tool, but I said we'd be using mainly hand tools for this guitar, so hand tools it is. Let's see. So here's my inner diameter, and now I'm going to set it to the outer diameter. Let's see. And I usually start and end under the fretboard, so if there's any maybe traces of a knife, the start of the cut, then it's nicely hidden under the fretboard. Let's see, there we go. Now I take a very sharp chisel and just start taking away material here. Maybe work from the other side. Let's see. You're going to have to find the direction of the grain so you can take out the material without actually damaging the top. When you're done with the channel for the rosette, or the trench for the rosette, let's see, it should be about 1.5 millimeters deep, or maximum depth that is. It's a couple of tenths less deep than the thickness of the rosette, so if you have a pre-made one, measure that first before you go too deep on that. We'll be making the rosette before we continue on the top now. Like the headstock, the rosette is part of the signature of the guitar maker. Traditionally, rosettes were made with lots of wooden strips, and they were glued into a pattern, and then tiles were cut off and they were inlaid into the top. You can buy those factory made, but they're a lot of fun to make yourself because you can make your own pattern. I choose a bit more of a modern approach. I make mine out of, well, this is scrap wood from the back and sides, so it's going to look really consistent with the back and sides, and I use usually 4 or 8 pieces and make them into a circle, and then with some wooden strips around that make it into a rosette. You can also make them out of wooden strips that go around in circles. They're really nice too. If you want to know more about that or want to see how that looks, go to my site and click press, then articles, and then there's a short article that I wrote for the Guild of American Luthiers about how I make those. But I'm going to make the rosette for this guitar out of back and side material. We made the rosette and glued it to the top, and now we're going to have to make it flush with the top. So take out your plane or scraper blade or sandpaper on a flat surface and clamp the top to your workbench or to your workboard, depending on, well, if it's really clean you can clamp it to the workbench. And then, well, I'm pretty close with my top, so I'm not going to plane it down, I'm going to scrape it down. Bueno. We're going to cut the sound hole now, but before we can do that we're going to reinforce the back of the rosette. So it's going to look like this. I have my sound hole here, and this is going to be a reinforcement strip, and we're going to make that out of a piece of top material. So you have your distance between these two transverse bars, and this is the diameter of the sound hole plus maybe 5 millimeters or a quarter inch. This patch is about 3 millimeters now. I'm going to bring that down to 1.5 to 2 millimeters, so that's 5/64 or a bit under, using a plane. And then we're going to cut out the sound hole, and you can cut out the sound hole with the circle cutter that we used for the trench that we made for the rosette on the other side. But I'm going to do it with the Dremel tool just to show you how that works. So, but first, bring this down to 1.5 to 2 millimeters.